Hi, I'm Dempsey Palat, and this week I'm reviewing. Now before we start off, as always, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button if you like today's video, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie related content weekly. But without further ado, let's jump into today's film. Bad Hair was written and directed by Justin Simien, and the film stars Elle Lorraine, Jay Pharoah, Lena Waithe, Kelly Rowland, James Vanderbeek, and Vanessa Williams, just to name a few. Set in the late 1980s, the film revolves around a young woman who gets a weave in order to fit in at work. However, after a series of mysterious events, it becomes apparent that her hair has a mind of its own. Now, I previously enjoyed Simien's Dear White People, both the film and the TV series, so I was kind of excited to see what he would do with the horror genre, but unsurprisingly, Bad Hair is not just a horror film. It's also, like his previous work, a satire. The film has a lot to say about race and culture, but more importantly, judgment. Above all, I think it does a really nice job at nailing just how superficial society can be, and just how ridiculous it is for people to use something like your hair to determine your worth. Our main character, who works for an entertainment company and aspires to be an on-air personality, feels the need to literally sacrifice her most natural aspect in exchange for not a guaranteed shot, but the chance to even be considered for a position that she really wants. Because she's told that until she looks the part, she won't ever be successful. And I don't think I have to explain why that's so messed up. And I really liked how Simien focuses on the fact that minorities only ever have this problem. And I especially like the fact that the film is set in the 1980s because it gives us a chance to see all the different ways that people like to express themselves. And while it does raise the question of why, of all things to change, she specifically decides to do her hair, because at that time you could literally do anything and you would stand out, it does also go to show just how far she's willing to go to succeed. It says a lot about her character. And to take that idea even further, there are times in the film where you will wonder who's really pulling the strings, if it really is the hair that's acting out or if it's her. That being said, Elle Lorraine does a really fantastic job in this film. I really liked her performance. Granted, she's no Lupita Nyong'o, but she's still riveting to watch. I really like the fact that she's able to make you empathize with her for a majority of the film, even though if you watch it, it's apparent that she brings a lot of the bad onto herself. But yeah, I don't think that she's necessarily a newcomer. I feel like she's been in other things before that I haven't seen. But regardless, I'm very excited to see where her career goes after this film. As for the supporting cast, well, as you can tell, it's absolutely stacked. However, each other character besides Lorraine's only gets a little bit of screen time. This is especially disappointing in the cases of Vanessa Williams, Jay Pharoah, and Lena Waithe, who really only gets to shine for like 2 minutes at the very end of the film, but I mean, we'll come back to the ending in just a second, because in addition to the underutilization of most of the actors in this film, the other problem that I had with it was the fact that its effects were so inconsistent. Don't get me wrong, there are some incredible practical effects throughout the film, but for every really great one, there's an equally bad CGI one. For example, the first time that we get to see the weave come to life, it's eating ketchup that it thinks is blood, and it looks really realistic and is actually pretty funny. But the first time that we see it kill, it looks incredibly cartoonish, and that doesn't make sense to me. Instead of seeing people getting their wigs snatched, the entire third act consists of wig snatching people. And while it does sound fantastic on paper, because it's done with so much bad CGI, it's not that enjoyable to watch. Talking about the film as a whole, I did find the story to be very tight and very easy to follow, at least for the first hour or so. I was particularly impressed with Simien's ability to interweave, pun intended, African-American folklore into the film. There's this book used as a reference with old horror stories written by slaves, and while it does offer some very convenient exposition at times, I found it to be so interesting. A part of me wished that the entire film would be based on that, or that we could get an entire film based on that kind of folklore, because it's an avenue that I don't think has been explored, or at least explored enough in the horror genre, if that makes sense. But man, in that last half hour, everything just falls apart. And I'm not just talking about the story or the CGI. I'm talking about like straight up logic thrown out the window towards the end. Even in the film's final moments, there's this bizarre twist slash reveal that I'm sure most people might understand, at least I hope most people might get, but personally I feel like the film just would have been better off without it. I don't use this term often, it's been a very long time since I've used it, but this film is a very mixed bag. Despite a great premise and some fascinating ideas, the film just never delivers. And considering the fact that it's from the same mind who brought us Dear White People, makes it all the more unbelievable. And for that, I'm going to give this film 2.5 stars.
Damn, that took a turn.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. Now, if you happen to see this movie, which by the way is available on Hulu right now if you haven't checked it out, let me know what you thought about it down below. Either way, if you loved it, if you hated it, I look forward to reading and responding to all of your comments. But that's pretty much all the time that I have for you guys today. I know that I said earlier this month I was going to be doing a lot more horror-centric stuff and Halloween-related movie reviews on this channel. Unfortunately, for the past week and a half or so, I've been consumed with work and a bunch of other personal stuff. So I'm a little behind, but I do have plenty of content that I plan on releasing, and I hope you enjoy. And I should just probably get back to work, right? Until next time, I'm Dempsey Pulot. Take care.